guys, welcome back to our channel. Today it is just me. I feel like Keith usually does the intros, but I am gonna talk about my birth story, and also what I did to prepare for my unmedicated birth. So, and then you all sent in a few questions, like specifically that you want to answer. So I'm going to answer those for you as well. So first, I'll start off with talking about what I did to prepare for the unmedicated birth. So I always wanted, before I even found out I was pregnant, like just always knew I wanted to have a natural birth. I never wanted to have medication or anything. I don't know why. I feel like women were built to have babies, and we've been doing it for millions of years. So I just felt like if they could do it, I could do it, and I like to challenge myself. So that's just always been something I wanted to do, and I'm very passionate about it because also the benefits of it for your child and just yourself, the recovery afterward. So basically what I did a lot of research. I talked to friends who have had natural births to get their perspective on how it was and what they did to prepare. Specifically, my friend Tyler, she was a huge help throughout this whole process. She did an unmedicated birth also, which was very successful at a birthing center. So her experience was a little different, but she helped me since like day one. We talked about our natural, how we wanted to have a natural birth. But basically, I took me and Keith. I made him take a class with me, an unmedicated class at the hospital that we chose to have NASH at, which was Good Sam. And the class was very, very helpful. So if you do want to do a unmedicated birth, a medicated birth, cesarean section, whatever you decide, definitely educate yourself on it first, so you know what to expect when you're in the hospital if that's the setting you choose. So we did that. It was a 6-week class, once a week, and they talked literally everything about what the different stages of labor are, all the interventions that could happen if you are not able to do the unmedicated birth, and like the things that would happen after you had the baby at the hospital, and things like once the baby gets older, what to look for in their development as well. So it was very, very informative. It helped Keith be more prepared as well, so we knew as soon as I was in labor that we did not need to rush to the hospital. I don't even know. It just helps a lot. So we took the class, and then also I watched YouTube videos, of course, and then I did watch this free seminar. I'll have to go back and see what it was. I took notes on that, and then I ended up paying for the actual class, and I didn't use it. So I'm kind of sorry about that. But aside from that, I just researched like ways that could help me have an easier labor since I wanted to do unmedicated. And also with talking with Tyler, and then my other friend Briere also did unmedicated, and both of them did the raspberry leaf tea, which I'll insert here, the one I used. And I don't think Briere did it, but Tyler also did the dates, which I also insert which ones I ate. And I started doing that at 37 weeks. You can, depending on if you have a midwife or a doctor, my doctor told me to just wait to the 37-week period. I'm pretty sure some people have started earlier, but that's what I was comfortable with. So I started eating the dates at 37 weeks, and I started drinking the tea. And I started drinking 1 cup a day of the tea, and then as we got closer, I amped it up to 2. And it's not the greatest, but I developed an acquired taste for it, and I actually like it, and I'm still drinking it because it does help with postpartum as well. But I drank the tea and the dates, and I mean, obviously I don't have anything to compare it to, but I think that helped a lot. So the tea helps strengthen your uterus. So when you do get contractions, they're, I wouldn't say more tolerable, but your body, that muscle has a little more strength, I guess. I don't know. And then the dates help with dilation, and I believe they help with effacement as well. So that, I think, helped with me being able to progress in my labor so fast, because I dilated super fast. So I'll get into that. But that is literally what I did to prepare. And I prayed every day. And then the closer I got to, oh, and I used a birthing ball. I probably should have used it more. But once we got like 2 weeks, 38 weeks, I was on it. I brought it to work. And I honestly think that's what kind of helped induce labor. And me and Keith tried to do the perineal massages, which I'll put a picture in here if that's appropriate of what that is, or you all can just look it up. That wasn't very comfortable. We did it, I think we tried it twice. But that is supposed to help with tearing. Luckily I did not tear. I tore a little bit, but it wasn't to the point where I needed stitches. So that is everything I did to prepare. And I mentally just kind of told myself, instead of using like the word pain, I would change it to discomfort. So like when people are like, it's gonna hurt, like I know labor was gonna be uncomfortable. So it was more so just preparing mentally, what am I gonna do to push myself through it. So that is honestly the biggest thing, your mentality over your physical, because you know it's gonna hurt regardless, or it's gonna be uncomfortable. So just like giving yourself pep talks, listening to affirmations, honestly I think is what really helps, because it's like if you tell yourself you can do it, you can do it. So that was pretty much what I did to prepare. And then for labor itself, let me see, I can just kind of give you a rundown of what that was, and then I'll answer the questions you all had specifically about my process. So I went into labor, what day was that? It was the night, 23rd, I guess. No, it was the 24th. It was the 24th because it was at 6 in the morning. So I woke up and I was kind of crampy. It was literally at like 6 on the dot. But I didn't really think nothing of it because it felt more like period cramps. And I'm not sure if you all know, but labor happens in a few different stages. So it's early labor, which typically for a first-time mom is about 8 to 12 hours. And then there's active labor, and then it's transition, and then it's pushing. So I was in the early stages of labor from about 6. What time do we get to the hospital? 12-ish?
Yeah, noon.
To noon. So about 6 hours of early labor. And the cramps, I tried to take a shower, but then I think I was getting kind of anxious, and my cramps, or my contractions, sorry, were kind of preventing me from finishing it. So I kind of just got in the shower and wet myself. I wasn't able to take one. And then Keith made us breakfast, and honestly the pain or the contractions were manageable in the beginning. Like I said, it felt to me at least like period cramps, and it was just in my lower section. So I didn't feel it all throughout my stomach. So that's why I was kind of confused if they were contractions, because I've read that the contractions kind of start from your back and wrap around your stomach, but mine weren't like that. But it's different for everyone. So did that for about 6 hours. I ate, listened to some Summer Walker, bounced on the birthing ball, and Keith timed my contractions throughout that process, which you all kind of saw in our video. So once we got to, it's called the 5-1-1 rule. So basically your contractions are 5 minutes long, 5 minutes apart for 1 minute long for 1 hour. So that is the rule of thumb that you need to go to the hospital. So I got there faster than I thought. Keith was like, yeah, they're actually that close. And I was like, Okay, here we go. So I was like, I had to prepare myself to go to the hospital. But like I said, my contractions weren't that bad. So I was like, they're probably going to send me home. I'm probably not, dilated enough. Because I'm expecting to be in this state for about 12 hours as a first time mom. So we get to the hospital. I was able to walk in there. I didn't have to get in a wheelchair. The contractions were still pretty mild at that point. And then they put me in triage, is what it's called. So we were in triage for what, like 3 hours? 2 hours?
Yeah, like 2 hours.
Like 2 hours. Because when I first got to the hospital, I was still 3 centimeters dilated, which is how many centimeters I was at my last doctor's appointment. And usually you need to be about 5 centimeters dilated to get admitted. So surprisingly, they let me stay. My contractions got worse. I was still able to manage them, but I had to like get up, and that's when I had to start listening to my affirmations, which I can put the link for the ones I used. It was one my friend Tyler sent me. I used that the whole time, on and off. And my mom and Keith had to keep switching out of the room because of COVID. But yeah, I was in triage for 2 hours, and then I finally progressed to 4. But I guess everyone decided they wanted to have a baby that day, so we had to wait for a room to become available. And once that happened, I went to the room, which you all saw. And then honestly, from there, well, the doctor asked me in triage if she wanted them to break my water. And I kind of did not want them to, because like I said, I really just wanted my body to do everything on its own. I refused all medications. I didn't even let them give me nausea medicine, pain medicine after birth. Like, I didn't want anything. But she told me once we got in the room, she said, if we break your water, you can have this baby by dinner time. And it was like 3 o'clock at that time. So basically within the next 2 hours. So I was like, I had to get my mind right, because I knew once my water broke, the contractions were going to intensify. So I decided to let them break my water. And it was about, I honestly don't know what time any of this happened. I have to ask Keith. What was that, 3-ish?
What you asked?
When they broke my water?
That was like around like 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess that happened at 4. And then she told me, what did she say? Basically, no, after that. So as soon as my water broke, shit got real. I might have to blank that out. But my water broke. I threw up instantly. And my contractions, like, were back to back to back. I was like, it got real. But I still never thought, like, oh, give me an epidural. Because at that point, I was progressing. I think I was about 6 centimeters dilated at that point. And she told me if I felt like I had to poop, then to let her know. So I think, honestly, this is all a blur. So Keith might have to help me. But I just know I dilated so within like an hour, from like a 6 or a 7 to 9.5. And she said, once you feel like you have to poop, let me know. As soon as she said that, or as soon as she walked out the room, I had that feeling. And I just was like, my body just wanted to push. So it was time, I think, at that point. And I think 40 minutes maybe went by. It felt like 10. But so then they started getting everything ready. My contractions, that's when I went into transition. That is the hardest part of labor. And it can last anywhere from a few minutes to a couple hours. So that, after they broke my water, I'm pretty sure that's what stage I was in, because it was rough. But yeah, so then it was time to push, and I started pushing. So luckily at this hospital, they let you push in whatever position you want to push in. You can literally do anything at Good Sam. You can bring incense, you can bring a speaker, you can labor in the shower. They don't have baths, so I couldn't do like a water birth or anything. That's literally the only thing I couldn't do. But I started delivering on my side, because that's just the position I was in. And she's like, well, do you want to start like this? And I said, yep, because I was just too uncomfortable to move. So we started there, and I'm pretty sure we got pretty far because I pushed, I think, a couple times on my side, and the head was starting to come out. And she was like, if you can come down like in the regular birth position that you always see, then I can get him out. So I got down in that position, and I pushed maybe through 2 more contractions, and he came out. I pushed for 13 minutes total. So I would say that felt like the ring of fire is real, and people were telling me the pushing part is the easy part, and that was not, because it's so much you have to do when you push. You have to push during the contraction, hold your breath, and yes, I pooped as well, which I could not worry about at the time. And you just have to focus. Like, they had to bring another. I was screaming, as you all saw. So Keith said once they brought another nurse in, I just really had to focus on one voice, and she told me to stop screaming. And then I finally was able to push him out. So pushing is not the easy part. I don't know who told y'all that, but it wasn't easy for me. But I listened, and I just listened to my body, and I just pushed, and they just kept telling me to push, 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 and I just listened, and he came out. So that's pretty much my birth story. But I'll go ahead and answer the specific questions you all had. Yeah, so
What up, y'all?
Orange.
Ooh, my beard.
Why is it like orangey now?
Huh?
Oh, no, I guess probably because you're standing. No.
Because I'm brown.
Whatever.
White.
I am really white right now. Okay. So now I'm going to answer the questions you all asked me on Instagram. So the first one was, how did you feel they treated you at the hospital, and did you feel they had your best interest? I actually had, I know, and a lot of people do natural unmedicated births. They don't choose a hospital. They usually do a birthing center, or they do at-home birth. But as for me, I wanted to do a hospital. That's where I felt the safest for having my first child, because I knew if anything were to go wrong, everything was there. But they actually treated me very well, like from day one. Me and Keith never had an issue. Everyone was always super nice. I wanted the baby to be delivered by a black doctor, because if you all know the statistics with black women in labor, then you'll know why. But I was able to have real conversations with all of them. They all respected, sorry, I have something in my eye. They all respected my birth plan. I made a very thorough birth plan, and they all were like, we can do this. And then I was able to have like a real conversation with the black doctor, who I did want to deliver Nash, because that was very important to me. Like, my well-being as well as my baby's well-being was very important. I wanted to make sure I felt safe, and I made sure I met with every doctor, which still ended up being who delivered my baby was none of the doctors I met, but it was fine because she was still great. But they treated me well, like I said, from day one. We never had any issues. I never felt uncomfortable. And everyone respected me and my wishes. So, which I know I've heard other people's stories with hospitals, and that's kind of rare. So Good Sam was, they were great. And yes, they had my best interest the whole time, and never pushed me to try to get an epidural or a C-section. They did have to, only thing I didn't like, they did have to schedule to induce me if I was not going to have Nash by 41 weeks in 1 day, which honestly I think really pushed me when they told me that, because I was like, oh, I got to really focus on having this baby before that, because I did not want to get induced. I've heard so many horror stories, and that obviously went against everything I wanted to do in regards to birth, because it's not natural. And people, when they're induced, I heard, are in labor for like 36, 48 hours, and that just couldn't be me. But yeah, my experience was great. So I hope that answered that question. And the same person said, do you feel like the things you did, Do you feel like the things you did to help prepare worked? And I don't have anything to compare it to, but I would say yes, based off of what the dates in the T specifically, and when it came to like the labor itself, I think it helped because the fact that I went from, well, I was already effaced at my doctor's appointments. Like my last doctor's appointment, I was 80% effaced, which basically means that your cervix is thinning, which is good because it has to be like 100% effaced in order for you to push out the baby. It has to be like paper thin, basically. And I dilated so fast when I was in labor, and that's what the dates are supposed to help with. So I don't know if I wouldn't have done it if my body would have done the same thing, or if it's just like a placebo effect. But I think it helped, and I'm gonna do it for my future kids that I plan to have. And then the class for sure helped. Like that really helps me and Keith know exactly what to expect. It helped me stay calm. Like I never freaked out at all throughout my whole laboring and delivery process. So definitely, if you don't, believe in the T's and dates and stuff, take a class because that helped us, both of us, and make your partner go. That helped us a lot. Someone said, would I do it all over again? Honestly, yeah, because we still want more kids. I felt like I had a great experience. Yes, it was a lot and probably one of the hardest things I ever done, but you get a beautiful human being at the end. Like, it's well worth it. And honestly, I spent 2 weeks. Like, you remember the pain, but it's not to the point like my experience. Luckily, I was blessed to have a great experience, but even people who've had crazy stories have more kids because you just see what you get and the end result, and it's worth it. So yes, I would do it again. Someone said, what helped you speed up labor? Did I walk? Did I eat spicy foods? Or did we have sex? Honestly, I think I went kind of hard with the dates and the T's, like at week 38. So I think that helped. And then I brought my birthing ball to work like the last week. So I was sitting on it literally for like 7 hours. That I think helps maybe. And then at my last doctor's appointment, when she checked me, she stretched my cervix a little bit. Like she said when she checked it, she kind of stretched it a little bit. So I honestly feel like that kind of helped induce my labor as well. Because after that, I was like really crampy and I had some spotting. So I feel like that kind of helped get it going also. I ate spicy foods throughout my whole pregnancy, so that probably didn't help. Actually, it might have because the night before, me and Keith ate hot meds, and I honestly thought that's why my stomach was cramping the next morning. So that could have helped induce labor as well. And then someone said, her question is, bid how? It's like, how did I do it? So I kind of just went over that, how I did it. So I'm not going to get too in depth with that one. And, someone said, was I nervous about going natural? Honestly, I never was really nervous until it was happening. But I still was not super nervous because I just prepared so much for it. And I asked so many questions about people who've already done it. And I just trusted my body, and I just knew it was going to do what it needed to do. So I was more excited because I was excited to meet my son rather than nervous. So I would say no, I wasn't. I was just more excited just because I trained my mind not to be nervous or be scared because that I honestly think would have just hindered my process. So I did not put that in my mind. And then someone said, what made me want to go through birthing process unmedicated? Like I said, I've always wanted to have an unmedicated birth. I don't really know what prompted it other than obviously the benefits of having a natural birth. The recovery process is a lot easier. And like I did not, like I said, I didn't tear. I did a little bit, but I didn't have to get stitches. And your body bounces back so much faster compared to like cesarean. An epidural, I have heard so many people say that when they got an epidural, they have back problems like forever now. And they showed us the epidural in our birthing class, and me and Keith saw that, and I said I was more scared of the epidural than vaginally delivering. So look and see what epidural looks like, and you tell me if you still want one when you have a baby. But yeah, and then it's certain hormones that are released when you have a baby naturally, like when as compared to like epidurals and then putting all that medicine in you, it kind of hinders some of those natural hormones to be released, like oxytocin. If you get induced, you get pitocin. So it's just like a lot of unnatural stuff that they put inside of you that I did not agree with. So that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to go natural. And like I said, I just kind of wanted to challenge myself as well. And it's a lot better for the baby because you're not, some of the medicines they give you do pass through the placenta, and the baby is affected by it. Not anything to the point where it would be, bad for the baby, but I didn't want any of that. Like even when I threw up, they were like, let's give her something for nausea. I said, I don't want it. Like, don't give me anything. I'm good. So yeah, just the benefits mainly is why I wanted to go natural. Did I have a midwife or a doula? No, since I was in a hospital, I did not have a midwife. I had an OB, and I did not have a doula. I did want one initially, but and I might consider it at my next birth because I would like to do maybe a home birth next time. But I felt like with Keith and my mom, they were gonna advocate. They knew what I wanted. So regardless of what state I was in mentally when I was in labor, they knew exactly what I wanted. So I didn't feel like I needed a doula because I had them. But I was able to advocate for myself throughout the whole process. So next one is, what were your feelings when it was time to push? I was overwhelmed and excited because pushing, like I said, was hard. I think was one of the harder parts of labor. Just because, like I said, it's a lot you had to think about. That's when your contractions are at all-time high. You gotta hold your breath. You gotta push. Everyone is talking to you at the same time. She literally told me how to push, and I was like, you're gonna have to tell me when I'm in the moment because I'm not gonna remember that. But I was excited because I'm like, we're here and we're about to meet him. So I just kind of locked in and listened. Well, I listened to the one nurse that I could have focused on. So yeah, I was excited. And then someone said, with your high pain tolerance, did it feel like you couldn't handle it? What kept you going? I never got to the point where I wanted to like give up and get the epidural. Like I said, the whole time I literally just kept telling myself in my head, like, you can do it, it's temporary, like, you're gonna meet your son at the end, so just keep pushing through, which I didn't really have to transition to that mindset until they broke my water, because that's when I kind of felt like possessed. But yeah, I do have a high pain tolerance, so that probably definitely helped me. But again, I honestly just feel like it was more of my mindset. So I feel like even if you don't have a high pain tolerance and this is something you really want to do, you can do it. Because I've talked to people who have low pain tolerances and had natural birth. So it's really just talking yourself through it, like I said, and trusting your body and that it's going to do what it needs to do, and trusting God that he's going to get you through it. And honestly, that's what kept me going. And the fact that I was dilating pretty fast, because I knew he was going to come at any time. If I was dilating slower, I probably would have had to have a different mindset, but me dilating as fast as I did really was pushing me like, all right, we got this. And so yeah, I hope that answered that question. And were you not comfortable with Keith, mom supporting your legs while pushing? The doctor never asked them to do that. She told me to. So that wasn't really, I don't know if that would have been an option. She just kept telling me to hold my leg, which was a lot in the moment while trying to push. So I would have been comfortable with them holding it though, because that honestly would have been less work for me to do with everything else I had to do to push. Someone said, was it worse or was it easier than I anticipated? In the beginning, honestly, it was, like I said, before they broke my water, like, I was good. I could handle it. I never got to the point, like, give me this epidural. It hurts so bad. Like, I just pushed through it because they felt like period cramps. And then when they intensified, they just felt like intense period cramps. But I honestly can't really explain how it felt after they broke my water. Because that's when it got intense, but I can't really explain, like, compare it to anything, because it really doesn't compare. It was just, like, it was very uncomfortable. Like, I just kept fidgeting. I didn't want anyone to touch me. Keith can tell you I pushed him. Like, he was rubbing my back. I did not want anyone to touch me. Like, I just wanted to not be talked to, touched, none of that. Because I was just so uncomfortable. Okay, a few more questions, guys, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Were the contractions as painful as they say? Like I said, for me personally, they were period cramps. And then once my water got broken, they hurt. Or they were, like I said, they were just very, very uncomfortable. Like, I just feel like I couldn't sit still, and I had to grunt through them. Like, biggest thing is breathing through them. Like, you have to breathe. And it got harder as they got more intense, but that really helped as well. So I really made sure I focused on my breathing, because when you tense up, it just makes it worse, which is kind of hard not to tense up, but you really got to just focus on your breathing. So they are uncomfortable, but to me, it was tolerable to the point where I did not need that epidural. So depends on what you feel like you have to figure out what you can handle. So if you feel like you need the epidural, then get it. Like, you know your limits and you know your body. So, but I didn't feel like I needed it. I did not have a doula again. Like I said, I felt like Keith and my mom and myself, honestly, I could advocate for myself, which I did. So that wasn't really something I needed to invest in. But like I said, if I do a home birth for whenever we decide to have another child, I probably will have one. Because for that setting, I feel like I might need it. What do I think was the most challenging part of this journey? If big picture, I don't know. What was the biggest part, Keith? What do you feel like was most challenging? Having the baby?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like my pregnancy, praise God, it was easy as well. Like, I was very blessed to have an easy pregnancy. I didn't have any complications. No gestational diabetes, no high blood pressure. So my pregnancy itself was amazing, and my labor and delivery was also amazing. So I feel like the most challenging part was labor and delivery, obviously, and pushing him out. Because pushing was, like I said, hard for me. But the contractions were manageable until the end, which I still managed them. The recovery, so I don't know, most of you all, if you follow me on Instagram, I got my placenta encapsulated. So here is that. And I've been using these to help with recovery. If you saw my story, it helps with, like, energy, postnatal bleeding, getting your prenatal weight back, all that. And I take 2 a day. It was other instructions, but that's just what I felt comfortable with. And I think it's been great. I've lost 26 pounds.
Yeah.
already. I
Yeah.
was 163. I
Yeah.
gained like 40 pounds. I wanted to only gain like 30. So I gained a lot. And then it's been 2 weeks and I've lost 26 pounds. So I only have, my boobs are pretty huge. So I probably will not get right back down to my perinatal weight, but I'll get pretty close. So once they clear me to work out, I just have like some extra, fat around my midsection that I want to get rid of. So my energy has been good. The first few days were rough. It was kind of like I was in a daze. But like I said, I didn't tear, so I didn't have to worry about that. I just have to wear these diapers from the postnatal bleeding, which is annoying.
Got 2 babies in here.
That's the only thing that has really been annoying. Oh, and the other thing that I forgot to mention, sorry, the most challenging part was when so right after the baby, I bled a little more than the average person because I had clots. So I don't know if you saw my Instagram post, if you follow me on there, but I didn't know about that part of labor. So if you deliver vaginally, they have to, regardless if it's medicated or unmedicated, they have to come and make sure your uterus is shrinking back down to, it's just shrinking and firming back up. So I have really bad blood clots right after. And since I didn't have any, like epidural, any pain medicine, I felt everything. So they had to come in and basically they massage your uterus back down. And I had clots, so they had to push them out of me. And that was painful. Like, honestly, that was worse than the labor and delivery. And they had to come and do it every 15 minutes. And I think they had to do like 5 times because they had to make sure all the clots were out, the blood clots were out, or I could have hemorrhaged. So it was a lot of blood after, and that actually made me very nervous. But yeah, I felt like a gusher. Like, literally, she was pushing on my stomach. I don't know if Keith saw it come out, but it was like gushes, like blood gushing. It was gory. I didn't see it. I just felt it, and the clots were like this big.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
I was nervous.
When the nurse pushed it down and it all came out, it was just like, bleh.
Like, I literally gusher. Like, you get a gusher and you squeeze it. That's what I felt like, and it hurt so bad. Like, I grabbed the nurse's hand and everything, and I was like, "Please tell me this is the last time you have to do this." So that was honestly the worst part. The whole pregnancy was them doing that. But I still didn't take no pain medicine. But I lied. They had to give me Pitocin to shrink my uterus back down since, no, that didn't matter. They said since I didn't get Pitocin to induce labor, my uterus wasn't firming fast enough. She said that was so small, it would just fix itself. But so I did take Pitocin after the baby was out of me. I did refuse any medicine while the baby was still in me. But the Pitocin helped firm my uterus back up and help it shrink and stop all that bleeding. So that was kind of scary. Sorry, I feel like I kind of went on a tangent, but I forgot to mention that part because that part was scary to me. Okay, so someone said, this is the last question, guys. Did they do anything to provide comfort measures? And why was it so important? Well, no, I already answered that one. So, did they do anything to provide comfort measures? They gave me ice chips, which is normal. Because, once you get admitted into the hospital, or I guess not even admitted, once you're in triage, you cannot eat. So, that's why you should wait as long as you can to go to the hospital if you do hospital birth. Because once you are there, you cannot eat. So you need to eat before you go because you just don't know how long you'll be in labor. So if I was in labor for about 36 hours, I probably would have been very hangry. But luckily, it was only 11 hours. So they gave me ice chips. I asked for a birthing ball. They did give me. They found one for me that I could use at the hospital. And like I said, they let you do what you want once you get in the room. So if you want to do incense, if you want to put your speaker on, which we put the speaker on, but I think we were about to.
Yeah, we didn't put it on.
But I got.
I asked you, did you want to put it on? You said yes.
And I said no.
And then everything happened so fast, like we forgot about it.
Yeah. So we didn't end up using it, and I think I had my earphones in because I just kind of needed to zone out. But you could do whatever you want. But I didn't have time to do all that because it just happened so fast. So I do felt like they gave me the options to be as comfortable as I want to be. But like I said, everything happened so fast. I kind of just got into the room, broke my water, baby came. So yeah, that is literally everything. I think I covered everything. Let me know if you guys have more questions. You can leave a comment and I'll answer it. Or you follow me on Instagram at, I'll put it up here, by T Gabrielle, and you can send me a DM. But I'm very passionate about unmedicated birth. Like I said, just because I know all the benefits of it, and I believe anyone can do it if they put their mind to it. That was kind of corny, but literally. So if you have any more questions, I don't want to keep blabbling on. Let me know. If you are pregnant, I can help you, let you know what worked for me. And yeah, that's it. So, want more videos, let us know what you want to see. But go ahead and like and subscribe and comment below. And we'll see you in the next video. Oh yeah, and these hickeys are from Nash. So when he's really hungry, I let him suck on my chin because y'all, this boy eats so much. But that's another day. I kind of want to do a day in the life with him while I'm on maternity leave. So let me know if you are interested in that too. See you later.